Hey everyone, welcome to West Coast Mopars. Today I thought I'd share a very special truck to me. This is a 65 Fargo half ton long box. This actually belonged to my grandpa. We called him Papa, but he was my grandpa. About 30 years ago when I was a kid. So he was actually gifted it from the old guy that lived in a house that my grandpa had bought. He had bought the property, and when I was a kid I actually grew up in that house. So my grandparents owned the property, we lived in the house, pretty old house. So previous to that, a guy owned that house and he had this truck, and my papa did some helped him out a bunch, and the guy gifted him the truck, and then he had it for years and years. Everybody in the family's got a memory of this truck and my papa, so very special to the family. Very special. So anyways, fast forward a little bit, my papa sold it when I was a kid, and everybody was pretty sad about it, and I always sort of kept my eye out for it and looked for it. It was pretty special. I wanted to, get it back. We were all pretty sad that it went, and I was doing a job at a guy's house. I was about 19. I'm an electrician, so I was doing a service call, and he's got a big car collection, and in the corner I see the old Fargo, and it's pretty unique. It's always been missing the rear bumper, and I'm pretty sure my papa took the bumper off. That was what I remember. He had pulled the back bumper off for some reason, so it was missing the bumper, and then there's a bracket behind the seat on the passenger side that he would always tell me to look out for. We'd go to car shows together, and he'd always say, look for that bracket. And I'll show you guys. There's the bracket there, this guy here, and he'd always say, look for that, because I put that in there. I don't know what it was for, but anyways, I asked the guy, you mind if I look behind the seat? And he kind of freaked out, told me to get away from the truck, stay away from it, don't touch it, don't look at it, don't even dream about having it. And I thought, oh, what a jerk. It was just weird. So after that, I never really saw it again. And then fast forward to a couple weeks ago, I'm driving through Qualicum, and I see the Fargo parked down a side street, and I quickly pulled around. I thought, oh, I gotta go check that out and see if that's it. And sure enough, there it was. And I ended up speaking. I left a note, and the guy called me, said, yeah, my dad and I have owned the truck for about 18 years. And I explained how special it was, and asked if there's any chance they'd want to sell it back to me, get it back in the family, and he agreed. So about a week ago, we went and picked it up, and I drove it home, and I thought I'd show you guys. So yeah, 65 Fargo, basically a D100. It was repainted about 25 years ago. So whoever, they bought it from my grandpa, and they painted it. But it was pretty clean when he had it. It was, it was a nice truck. Yeah, as you can see, the fenders where they normally rot, these swept lines are terrible here normally. It's just beautiful. Little bit happening at the back there. The hinges are in good shape. The hood closes nice and tight. This is a Canadian truck, so it's a 313 poly. The American trucks I think had 318s, but Canada we got a lot of the leftover parts. So it's a 313 2-barrel. Original radiator. It's actually got power steering, and I put it up on the hoist, and I was looking underneath because no swept line ever came with power steering. And that's a Toyota box out of it says Toyota right on it, so it's like an 80 to 85 Toyota 4x4 power steering box, and there's just a little adapter plate down there, and then the sector shaft with the pitman arm goes through the frame. And yeah, it works great actually. No complaints with it. It's got a Stromberg 2-barrel. That's the oil bath air cleaner. you can see the, you know, how nice and tight these body lines are. This thing is just so cool. It's so straight. It's got those, you know, the early 60s hoods had those louvers. I always loved the cabs. I've had quite a few swept lines over the years, as I was always sort of trying to replace it, or you know what I mean, trying to find another one, but just not the same. It's supposed to have the chains here. I remember it had those when I was a kid. They took them off. It looks like it, you can see where it was sort of, well, you can see it, it was sort of rubbing the paint here. Looks like they took them off. And again, a bumper, I mean, if I was to put one on, it'd have to be immaculate. I can't just put any old bumper on this thing. And it's an 8 3/4 in the back with 3 5.5s. It's got these beautiful old Fargo hubcaps. The refrigerator door handles, one click, they open. The sills are in great shape. This whole truck is just immaculate. The data tag is like brand new. The seat's got a couple small little spots there, but I believe it's the original seat from '65. Still got the original headliner. And actually really neat, the floor mat here, rubber floor mat right there, and I'll go, well, you can see that it's got the original, it's the original floor mat from the truck. There's the, it's got the part number with the Dodge Chrysler Plymouth Division stamp, and it's got the dash mounted shifter, which is pretty unique actually. Most, you know, most automatic you get on the column here. Everybody keeps asking me what this knob is. That's the lighter. You know, it's the ashtray. It came with the service manuals. There's actually a bunch of them in the shop there, but it came with the factory manuals. It's got this old Sanyo AM radio. I feel like my papa probably put that there. That's definitely something he would have done. And yeah, just a beautiful old example. Yeah, it runs great. The ammeter peg's a little hard to the right when it's charging. Fuel gauge and the temp gauge aren't working, and this one does not have the voltage limiter on the back where you plug in the wires. It comes through the fuel gauge. When you put a test light on it, it pulsates. So the limiter in the fuel gauge is working, but the fuel gauge doesn't move. So it's got to be a little bit of troubleshooting. Decent oil pressure, and that mileage I think is original, 45,000. It's just absolutely immaculate in here. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody who comments and leaves notes about the videos, and if anybody is watching this, I do need to sell a couple cars, and this Windsor is one of them. You know, as much as I love this car, it's a nice, beautiful car to drive. I've got to sell a few things. I got too many cars here, and picking up that truck was very unexpected. I didn't expect to be stumbling across it. So if anybody's interested in this 66 Chrysler Windsor, it's a Canadian car. It's a factory J code 440, tilt telescopic steering column, bucket seats with a buddy seat, fold down passenger seat. It's the original, well, it's a date coded 66 440. They didn't have numbers matching in 66. But as far as I know, it's the original 440 for the car. Very few Windsors came with a 440 in 66, so pretty neat car. It's got disc brakes in the front. Very straight. Tons of attention when you're driving it, lots of thumbs up. Everybody likes this. It's a black painted roof, it's not vinyl. It's got torque thrust wheels. Anyways, list goes on. But if anybody's interested in that, you can email me, West Coast Mopars, just like the YouTube channel, westcoastmopars@gmail.com. And I'm asking 22 Canadian, so that's about 16 US, I think. And yeah, anyways. So I've just been cruising this truck around and tons of attention. This thing gets ridiculous amount of attention. Mostly I don't think people have seen, you don't see them very often around here. There's a couple guys I know, but you don't normally see that earlier, you know, the early 65, you know, 62 to early 65 grill. And you don't see them this clean ever. This thing is just, it's so nice. So I'm very happy to get this back in the family. And it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So thanks guys, and we'll see you on the next one.